the Opepco Studios in Oklahoma City. This is OSU Basketball with John Helsley. Going to talk a little men's basketball, a little women's basketball. But John, first of all, got to talk about this Gonzaga game over the weekend. Oklahoma State clicking right along in their non-conference, and they go to Gonzaga, and they got rocked. Is this going to be the type of game that we look at maybe down the road and say, wow, this was really a turning point for this team?
It could be, because we've had questions about this team all along. They've got an excellent non-conference record, really haven't played a lot of teams that are top quality. This was a game that should have been a real highlight to their non-conference schedule. They should have been looking forward to this trip. It was a long trip. They had a layoff. Maybe those things came into play, but it really looked in a lot of ways like a no-show.
Mm-hmm. What disturbed you most watching that game? Were there some areas where you really felt like, man, I thought OSU was better here and Gonzaga really exposed them?
The one thing that really stood out to me was they got off to a good start. They led early. Gonzaga was struggling shooting the ball, but OSU really didn't take advantage of it. And then they quit going to Marshall Moses inside. They jacked up a bunch of shots from the outside, missed a lot of those. Marshall's really their go-to guy in this team. He's not a James Anderson style of go-to guy, but they've got to find ways to get him the ball and try and get him to score, and that's how the rest of their offense works as well.
You talk about marquee games. They're going to get one of those right out of the chute in Big 12 play. They still have one more non-conference game to go. But starting with K-State, coming to Gallagher-Iba, and then a couple road games, this is going to be a pretty telling stretch for this team.
It's a very telling stretch. They get Kansas State and Gallagher-Iba, as you said, on Saturday. It's a team that'll be without Curtis Kelly, who's serving a suspension right now. It's a game the Cowboys can win, and really they need to win it, because after that they go to Texas A&M and then they go to Colorado. Not the best teams in the league, but definitely places you can go and lose. So I think it's imperative that the Cowboys find a way really to upset Kansas State on Saturday and get off to a good start.
Let's talk about the Oklahoma State women for just a second, because they're one loss through their non-conference slate, had a ton of home games that they took advantage of. But what do we really know about this team at this point? Are they as good as that record indicates?
I don't think so. I mean, this is a really good start for a team that's totally rebuilt. No Andrea Riley anymore. Tony Young's coming along and starting to become the player they need her to be, but they still need a lot of other players to kind of develop. Tiffany Bias, a freshman point guard that's filled in for Andrea, still kind of trying to find her way. I think it's a pretty good team. I think it's a team that can make the tournament, but it's hard to peg where they're going to finish in the league right now.
All right, thanks, John. Hey, stay with the best coverage team anywhere at newsok.com and every day in the Oklahoman.